Call meeting to order. Shelley, can you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. District 1, Councilman Rios.
Here.
District 2, Councilman Pastor.
Present.
District 3, Councilman Latham. 4, Vice Mayor Stephen. 5, Councilwoman Biles.
Here.
Mayor Demir.
Here.
We have a
Thank you, Shelley. Fernando, can you lead us in the invocation, please?
Dear Lord, thank you that we can be gathered here today to do your work, to serve our community, to do the best that we can in our decisions to honor you. Please be with our first responders as they help the community. And thank you for allowing us to be part of a small community where people work together and work as a team. So appreciate everything that you do for us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Freddie, can you lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with current events, and Fernando, we'll start with you.
I'd like to thank Public Works and City Hall. They got down there and redid the old historic lights at the chamber and the museum area. They turned out really nice. They got them painted and they got them all fixed up, and so I appreciate the effort. And I think, thanks to all those that participated in the Poppy Fest. I got to see a little part of it, but it was a lot of fun, and hopefully it'll continue to grow. And maybe next year we'll have the poppies show up. That would be nice.
They'll be in it. Yeah.
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Fernando. Mike?
Yeah, yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Attended the CAG Transportation Survey Review, whatever meeting it was last week via Zoom. It was pretty interesting. I like the way they broke it down into groups, and we came back with recommendations. I think the idea of a regional direction rather than individual directions would be a positive improvement for that, for the transportation system. Also, I met with Rael at the library. Since I am on the library committee, she gave me a tour and we had some discussion with her and staff, and that was it was a good meeting. They have some issues, and I've already talked to Paul about some of them. And then I did attend their meeting, their committee meeting Monday via Zoom. I was out of town, so nobody knew that, and that worked out pretty good for me. But some interesting stuff, and I think they're doing the best they can under the way the conditions are. With that, I'm done, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mike. Freddie?
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the Transportation Board presentation. My only regret is I had to check out a little early because I had some work obligations, so I didn't catch all of it. But I think it's a great start for a discussion on how we can better create transportation here in Healy County, and obviously Globe included. The other thing is I'd like to thank all the people that have come together with this trash pickup, the trash mob, kind of generated or part of the Cobra Valley Watershed Partnership. I'm seeing a great turnout. They pick different areas of the community and the highway, and it's just it looks like it's a great event, and people are really enjoying doing what they're doing. I just want to say thank you so much to those people that are deeply rooted in that cause. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. Yeah, I also attended the transportation survey, but I had to step out for the group activity, but the rest of it was great, and the way they did the survey made it really, really simple to put on your answers and check it by percentages. Also, again, thank you to I think the chamber was part of it, big part of the Poppy Fest. Chamber and the city were partners with them. I mean, they did an excellent job. I thank all the chamber members for that, the hard work. This Saturday, they're going to be dedicating a headstone, and I think the Historic Society is part of it, and for Sheriff Jerry Ryan. And it's a pretty interesting story. The dedication of the headstone is going to be at 9:30 at the old cemetery site. But if you read the story on it, he was appointed in 1889 as the undersheriff by Sheriff Reynolds. And during his first assignment, he was assigned to go to the reservation, San Carlos Reservation, and look for the Apache Kid. Because the Apache Kid didn't know him, he was able to arrest the Apache Kid and bring him back to Globe for trial. So they took him, they brought him back to trial, found him guilty, and they sentenced him to a prison in Yuma. But en route to Yuma, Sheriff Reynolds and a deputy were overtaken by him, and there was a gun battle. They got away, and Sheriff Reynolds was killed. So this Sheriff Jerry Ryan, the one that doing the headstone, he was appointed by the Board of Supervisors back then as the sheriff. Once that happened, that incident happened, he was part of the first, apparently the first hanging, presided over the first hanging in Globe, and that must have been in 1889. And unfortunately, in 1890, he lost his life. He jumped in the Wheatfields Pond. Apparently, there was a girl that flipped her boat, and she was drowning, and he drowned in that, trying to save this girl. So they're gonna, I guess, dedicate the headstone up at the old cemetery, and then the Historic Society is gonna have a luncheon or something right after that, this Saturday. And they're putting his headstone next to the girl that died and that also drowned that day. So they got family coming in and everything. It's a pretty interesting story. I was talking to some of the family members and getting, so if anybody is interested in it, wants to go up there for the dedication, that's at 9:30. Also want to just give a shout out to Gila County and the amazing job they've done giving notary to our county for being the first county in the United States to offer the vaccines to 18 and older in all phases. And I'll tell you what, it's about partnerships. You know, the Gila County Health Department drove it to make sure we got the vaccines, to make sure we got them out to locations. And a big part of that was Cobra Valley Regional Medical Center also opening up their doors, the resources and the manpower to be able to give vaccinations on a daily basis, made it much simpler for our community. Also, the local doctors did it. They had some cluster events like on the mines and the schools. And then they had that mass vaccination that was up at High Desert School. That really made a huge difference. And I think the biggest part of it, especially for our elder community, is the hospital and the health department. The hospital opened up a direct line that you could call in and eliminated the website in Phoenix, which is frustrating for the elderly. And then the health department also opened up their EOC and manned a call center. And you were able to talk to a human being, book your appointment, and get your vaccine. And that's what's made this so successful. So I just want to congratulate all the partners that are involved in this whole thing. And this Saturday and Sunday is going to be the second round at High Desert for the second shots for the people that received them 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago at High Desert. So those appointments are already, I think they're all booked and ready to go. So they'll be doing another mass vaccination. So thank you again to all the partners, Gila County, hospital, schools, doctor's office, everybody. And that's all I have, Paul.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, no additional updates for you. Thank you.
What?
We go to first community call to the public. Do we have anybody? Thank you, Shelley. So we'll go to guest presentations. And for guest presentations, item A, we have Evelyn Vargas who will provide a status update on the Cobra Valley Regional Aquatic Center. She's online.
Mr. Mayor, yes, there she is.
Okay.
Good evening, council. I apologize. I'm in my truck. I'm on my way down to Mesa, so it might be a little bit loud. I hope you can hear me okay.
We can hear you very good.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we just wanted to give you an update on the Aquatic Center. It's been a few months since we've met, but we plan to meet again on Thursday and, start pushing the project again. Currently, we're looking at an aquatic center that's going on in Coolidge, Arizona. And Coolidge is building an aquatic center very similar to the one that's in Florence, Arizona. Similar build, same builders, actually. And they're building the aquatic centers through municipal bonds. And we are reaching out. We've already reached out. Brian Sepola has reached out to the town of Coolidge to speak to those members that are making this happen. We want to call, investigate, find out how they're actually getting this aquatic center built and how they're going to fund it over the next 20, 25 years. So, you know, we would love to have a representative from the city of Globe attend that Zoom meeting once we get it set up. So I'll be reaching out to somebody from the city of Globe to be in on this conversation. We're also looking for land. I think everyone heard an email went out from Marcella from BHP that they decided not to allow us to put the aquatic center on that land. They have some other plans for that piece of land. And so kind of pushed us back a little bit, but we do have 3 options that we're looking at still. And we're not going to put those out public until we've spoken to the landowners and kind of negotiate to see if they are willing to give us the land or give it at a good price, sell it at a good price. Another option we're looking at is to begin raising funds for the capital. We've never approached that part of the aquatic center. So we thought maybe if we take a look and see what we can generate in raising the funds through grants and different fundraising activities that we have on our capital fundraising plans. And, you know, several people have reached out to me to say that they want to help raise the funds. And so I think we're going to start putting committees together for specific tasks. We're still very concerned about the City of Globe's plans for the Globe Community Center. And so we want to make sure that we continue our relationships with the City of Globe, the town of Miami, and the county to make sure that we're all making the best choices for our community. You know, we value the relationships that we have with the City of Globe, the town of Miami, and the county. We want to work together. And Mayor, you were just talking about the relationships and how we went from the highest county in the nation of COVID cases to now the highest county of vaccinations. I think there's one other county in Alaska that is probably about where we're at in vaccinations, and that's in Alaska. But, you know, we want to continue working together to see if we can, you know, provide this for our community. Any questions?
Questions, comments? Ready?
Hi, Evelyn. This is Councilman Freddie Rios. So the Coolidge model that you're looking at, is that any different than the Florence model, or is there something that made your committee look more directly at the Coolidge model, and does that better suit what you're looking for our region?
Actually, it's very similar to the Florence Aquatic Center. Same amenities, just maybe a little bit different layout. We're planning to take a trip that way, and very similar in cost. And that is the same facility that we've patterned all of our information off of.
And is it too soon for them to lay down a path for the O&M costs versus the CIP costs?
Yeah, that's it. One thing we want to ask, how are they going to maintain and operate the pool? But we do know that municipal bonds are being used to build the structure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Evelyn, a question on if everything were to go the way or smooth that you got funding and you got buy-in, what anticipated time frame are we looking at if that were to even happen?
We've given ourselves two years to raise the capital. Construction would be about 18 months. So total time that we're looking at is probably close to 3.5 years at the beginning of raising the capital. And I think 2 years is a generous amount of time. You know, we're really hoping to raise it within a year, but we've given ourselves 2 years to raise that money.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have Sherry online too. I don't know if we wanted to let Sherry have.
Comments?
I'm just here to support Evelyn, council.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah. I guess we're good. Thank you, Evelyn.
Oh, thank you, council.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Item B, we have Kimber Lanning, Executive Director of Local First Arizona Foundation, and she will provide us with an update on the status of the City of Globe Business Relief Program.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, I do not have her on Zoom at this point. I don't know if we want to go to the late item and we can come back. We can try to see if we can connect up with Kimber, or I can go forward with the presentation without her.
Yeah, I'd like to bring up the late agenda item and maybe give her a little time to come on.
Okay.
I was going to ask that, after the guest presentations, but I'd like to bring that up. And that's basically just a brief update on the COVID update and the executive order that was issued by Governor Ducey a couple of days ago.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you very much. There is a lot of interest. One of the things we've been waiting for is where the governor was going to fall with some of the changes and the lowering of the cases and just what appears to be some positive turn of events with the COVID-19. And so we did get. Let me just give a quick overview. It's almost, I was getting ready for this, almost been 1 year that this is going on. I remember March 13th, 2020 is my official start. That was the day they closed down Disneyland in California. And so it's been almost a year since March 13th. Right now, the vaccine's widely available around the country, and especially 18 and older here, as we talked. The governor's announcement was a limited announcement. The governor rescinded the capacity limits for all businesses, and that is that, and then allowing the sporting arena, which is more about spring break. But what applies to us is that elimination of the capacity. To this point, certain businesses could only allow 50% or even some 25% of their quoted capacity by the fire marshal. Right now, he has taken that hard number off, but still the governor requires social distancing of 6 foot in restaurants. Bars still need to serve food if they're going to be open. All the PPE hygiene requirements, and another one important to the city is the gatherings of 50 or more still require the special event permit that we get a COVID plan. If it's happening in public spaces in Globe, we need to go through and make sure that if it's above 50, it needs to go through us. And we need to make sure they're keeping that social separation. And it had no impact on many of the mayors across the state, including you, Mayor Gameros, put a mask mandate in place. It has no impact on that. Arizona is one of the states that did not put a statewide mandate, but many of the cities and the county of Maricopa put that in there. Those stay in place. And so it really is, the biggest thing is the rescinding of the occupancy requirements that you have to follow the number of people in there. So how does that impact the city? The capacity limits, what I was trying to say. So how does that impact the city? I think the biggest impact that we've had has been on Beshbegawa. We in talking with Leanna this morning, our manager out there, what we intend to do is to currently we have a limit of 12 people, and they many times have to stop people from coming in, make people wait, and it's not a big burden, but still, we want to try to keep 12 people is what they want to keep in there, and Monday through Friday operation. With this change, we feel comfortable allowing as many people as possible that feel comfortable coming in. We're going to keep the distancing. We're going to make sure that they line up to the cash register and don't get too close. But if they come in, because they get lots of big groups, you get mom, dad, and 6 kids, and they're in there, and that can fill up your capacity pretty quick. So we're going to kind of let this flow and see how it goes. If it turns out that we can't maintain the distancing, then we'll get back on to maybe adjusting that. But we believe that's something that we can start this week and allow, because the weather's beautiful and we're getting more and more visitors out there. A little bit further down the road, we're looking at starting the April 1 opening, going to 7 days a week, going back to 7 days a week at BESH. And we have the staffing where we can allow them to, on Saturday and Sunday, people to enjoy BESH Begawa. We still will be closing an hour earlier, instead of 4:30, 3:30. That gives the staff time to clean and do the things that they need to do to make sure everything is safe. So that is probably the biggest impact on city facility. We're very proud of BESH, and it's a popular attraction here. So that's what we're doing. In the library, we're looking at going from 6 people at a time by appointment to what I'm not sure which phase. I think it's phase 3 or phase 4. We're going to allowing 10 walk-ins at a time. And so that's upping it still with the computers and things like that. 10 people can be a lot, but that was our next plan phase. So we're going to go with 10 walk-ins. Up until this point, it was by appointment, but it was a lot of people. If there was room, people would walk in, and so they're kind of transitioning to a walk-in model now. And so we will end the appointments and allow 10 people at a time. As if we get more than 10, we'll hold them at the door and let them swap out. We talked to Active Adult Center. No change there. They're seeing following the trend, and many people are vaccinated and getting their second vaccination, and so they want to reevaluate in 30 to 45 days whether we open up for in-dining there. That is our most vulnerable population, and we want to be extra careful with that. So we're looking on that. But in speaking with our staff at Active Adult Center, they don't feel the time is right to open up, but they feel more comfortable in the near future. Other work sites where we won't be changing anything. The staff still, we have our mask requirements here. If you're moving around, 2 people in office, 2 people in a pickup truck, we're masked up unless we're distanced in separate offices. I will say that there is one change that, with the advent of so many people getting vaccinations, up until this point, the city of Globe has administratively paid for sick leave that was COVID related for all employees. If you came down with COVID and you're on sick leave, we would cover that. We wouldn't pull it from your bank. If you had to be quarantined by the county and that was COVID related sick leave, we would take care of that. We're getting closer to where we don't have that need anymore, but still there are we believe that if people are ill from COVID, but what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be notifying all staff that if you have, we will continue the COVID sick leave for those people who have been vaccinated. And with the chances of, if those people have taken the steps to help protect themselves, we will allow them to apply for that if they happen to get COVID after that. But we are, in about 2 weeks, we're going to time out on sick leave for COVID for everyone, because of the vaccines have been available for everyone for, I believe we will be over that 45-day that they've been available for staff. And so at that point, the only people we will cover their sick leave for are those that took that opportunity, got themselves vaccinated, and then still came down with that. And that's my update for the city of Globe on COVID, both external and internal. And kudos to mayor and council for everyone's effort and keeping the word out. I think the word is, we just have to be cautious. And as I'm fond of saying, no, I don't think the city of Globe is going to be the first one back in the water. I think we need to take care of our employee population and set good examples by maintaining our diligence in making sure that we are safe. Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's my update.
Any questions or comments for Paul? Mike?
Paul, you said that the library is going to increase from 6 to 10
Yeah, at one time.
at one time?
Yeah,
Okay.
and no appointment necessary. They can come in.
Okay. Now, there was a question that they had that part-time employee that isn't there. Are we going to bring that part-time back on to?
I believe that will not change the dynamics there. It's when we go to the full hours that's going to change.
Okay.
And I believe we're going to send that information out. But right now, I do not believe just going from 6 to 10 is not enough of a change to warrant going to that fourth
Okay.
person.
No, that's fine.
Ready? Thank you. Just a comment on the updates too. I, along with other mayors in the state of Arizona, sent emails to Governor Ducey immediately after that executive order, questioning some of the things to make sure we understood it totally. With Texas opening up, that's what it sounded like, that Arizona was opening up. But it really wasn't a big change. 100%, you still got a 6-foot distance. You're never going to get 100% into a facility. The other concern we had, was it going to affect our proclamation and mask mandates? And that does not oversee it, and just like you stated. So those were some of the things. I feel it's too early. I think we need to be cautious. We need to be uniform in our plan as we move forward. Let's be a little more patient. I mean, our numbers are truly coming down in the state and especially in our community. But some people think just because they've had the vaccine or had COVID positive that they don't need to wear masks. They don't need a social distance. We're still in building to a level where we can get away from that and be comfortable. And I think we're still a couple of weeks or months or maybe a month away, a couple of months away. But we need to be uniform with our message. In our community, we will continue to mask mandate, social distancing to 50 plus gatherings, which is not affected by that executive order. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you. And
John?
I think
Okay, Kimber?
Mr. Mayor, once we get her on the line, if you want to reread the entrance to the agenda item.
Okay.
This is Kimber.
Hey, Kimber, how you doing? It's Paul at the City of Globe Council meeting. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, Paul. How are you?
Really good, really good. We're about to. The mayor is going to start the item. We're doing the update on the business relief grant program, and
Absolutely.
okay. And so I'll let the mayor. Well, almost. We're going to let the mayor start us off, and then we'll kick it to you in a second here, Mayor.
So we have item B. We have Kimber Landing, who's the executive director of the Local First Arizona Foundation, and she's going to provide council with an update on the status of the City of Globe Business Relief Plan or program. How you doing, Kimber? And it's all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mayor, members of the council, thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity to help a good number of businesses in Globe. I wanted to provide you with some statistics and a brief overview of how it went. In general, I would say it went exceptionally smoothly. We did not have any glitches with regard to business themselves or the distribution of the funds. So what we were able to do is we had 66 total businesses apply for funding. And of those 66, 62 of them received funding. And we were able to get $122,000. And the average grant provided was $1,967.74. And so being able to help 62 businesses is significant. We heard from a good number of businesses that this would either help them pay their mortgage on their property or their rent on their property, or help them with utility bills or other things to keep the lights on at their business. So there were a wide variety of uses, but the general overview and tone was that people really needed funding for business-related services. There were a good number of people that we spoke to that own their buildings in Globe and perhaps own them outright. And so they didn't necessarily need them for a mortgage payment. They didn't need the funds for a mortgage payment any longer, which was unique to Globe. I would say of all the communities that we've worked in, we have not seen as much small business owners, the people who own their building. There's more renters in other towns where so I thought that was very interesting. I would also say that there were a handful of businesses. You may be wondering why the 4 that did not receive funding. And at least 3 of those they either did not return phone calls after multiple attempts, or we had one that just did not complete the paperwork after we had a conversation. They never turned in the W-9. And then the final one did not actually have a business license in Globe. So that kind of gives you a brief overview about what we've done to date. And I wanted to just open it up to see if Mayor or Council had any questions for me that I can answer.
Council, questions or comments?
The only question I would have, Mr. Mayor, is are we going to continue this program for several more weeks, or is this?
No. This had a limited time and ended, and so we wrapped it up. Kimber, did we receive any late applications that weren't counted?
No, we did not.
Okay. So we did. I think we did under council's direction. We did a real good job of getting this out. I think right through Christmas, and it came in January. And I think Kimber, I think you were getting. I think there was the program started at 9. We had advertised it at 8, and I think we had 2 or 3 people. It's like, this was supposed to start. So they were right there the first hour, trying to get getting their submissions in. So I think we.
That's very true. That's very true, Paul. We definitely had a lot of enthusiasm, and we did not have anybody come in, after the fact. I think you did an excellent job of getting the word out.
So
Good.
Freddie, you had some?
Yeah, I have a question. Kimber, this is Councilman Freddie Rios. So, a lot of this process started early on with a public forum so that our businesses could voice their concerns and their desires. And then, of course, we rolled into, contracting your firm to roll this out. Can you tell us, from the time that we turned it over to you, the rollout, how that process worked out in obviously you've done this before, but was it something that we could have done a little better, or it rolled out exactly as planned? And finally, can you give us a general consensus of what the business community felt after we were done dispersing these funds?
Mm-hmm. Certainly. So I'll just give the high-level overview of the process. We created a website portal for easy application. People clicked on the Submit an Application button, and they were provided with a form to fill out. We gathered all that data on the back end, and as Paul mentioned, they came through easily. We did not have any phone calls from people who had problems with the application process or didn't understand how it worked, or glitches of people saying, this didn't work, or I submitted it, but I didn't get a receipt. We didn't have any back and forth. It went really smoothly from the time that it opened. And then when we started evaluation, we closed it. So they had a certain amount of time to apply. We closed the window, and then we went through an evaluation process, looking at the data that we had gathered, understanding the mayor and council there had laid out the priorities for what we were awarding. We, on our end, we divided the number of businesses up by 3 different staff people. And we called every single business directly, and we had a conversation with them about how their business was doing, what their current situation was, those types of things. And then once we established how much they qualified for, we sent a follow-up email to gather a W-9 from each person so that we could get their EIN number, the business address, all of that. Once we got that back in, they also had a choice of whether or not they wanted to receive a paper check or if they wanted to have an ACH transfer. The whole program was put on pause, as you're well aware.
Right.
That did cause quite a bit of confusion. There were some people that were in the process, and they were put on a pause until the city of Globe was able to put a resolution on the audit situation, and then we resumed. We really feel we tried to over communicate. There were some businesses that were not checking their email, but they called us and we got back to them. We had one woman that had complained to me that she had left several messages and no one ever called her back. So I really dug into that one because we take return phone calls very, very seriously. And that's a mystery to us. We did not receive voicemails from anyone. We double-checked on our office line. We double-checked at every single extension. But we did have one woman. I was able to get her on the phone, and she was grateful for the phone call, but she did feel that we were not as responsive as we could have been. And my honest answer there is I don't know how that happened because we returned every single phone call every message that we received in a very timely manner, like within 12 hours. Other than that one, within 12 hours on every single one. I mean, at a maximum. Most it was within an hour or two, but at most it was 12 hours, an overnight kind of a situation. And so from there, the people who got their ACH transfer, that was glitch-free. We did not have any rejects or rebounds. The people who received paper checks, we had about 5 that followed up with us that it was taking too long. And unfortunately, the U.S. Mail Service is just a little bit slow right now. But everyone did eventually get their funds. And we have not, since we closed this out and sent our final report, we have not had any further calls or anyone letting us know that there were any other problems.
Very good. Thank you.
Of course.
Kimber, this is Mayor. First of all, I want to thank you and Local First for taking on this program for us. It's a lot of work. There's no way we as a staff, we don't have the staff or the time to have done this pretty extensive program to get it to the business people. So we thank you very much for your hard work and getting that done to our business community.
You are very welcome. It's an honor, and my passion, as you know, is small business and small business in rural specifically. So I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I would just like to say, I've worked in a lot of different towns across Arizona, and I would just like to say, once again, congratulations to you and your leadership for taking this step. I think there was a little bit of a misperception by some of the businesses that you were somehow required to distribute funds to your small businesses there in Globe. And we really let them know there was absolutely no requirement that you do this, that you went above and beyond to service the small businesses in that community. And I think you should be commended for that. And I think that your staff the entire time was really responsive to us. So I just want to say back to you, congratulations for this kind of leadership. And I think as a result, you're going to have more small businesses survive this pandemic than other towns that chose not to invest in their small businesses. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Kimber. And just one other question. People online or here, we may not have got all the numbers like the apps and funded and the amounts and maybe some of the callbacks. Could we have a short executive summary just sent to the city? We can maybe post on our website so people can read and just short information about the number funded and the amount and everything would be great.
No, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we can do a short executive summary and share that. We can put something together about the highlights of the program and let people know the outcome.
Great. I think our residents would appreciate that.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, I want to thank Kimber and Local First. They did everything they said they would do and more. They met their timelines. We had a really tight timeline to get this turned around right in the middle of the holidays, and then so everything went very smooth. Got everything going, and then we had a little whiplash in between with the stop and the start. And Kimber gets the A+ for flexibility and working with us and helping us through what we needed to do as a city. So Kimber, thank you to you. Kudos to you and your group.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that. And I just hope going forward, you always know we're here. And we're always here to be a partner and a helping hand. So let's just plan to keep at it. And I certainly wish you all the best. I hope that I'll be there again in person very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimber.
All right. Take good care. All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, Freddie, go ahead.
I mean, I'd like to congratulate this body and pay them rewards and the staff for all the work and the decision making that this body made to find a way to help this business community. As it was noted, this was not a requirement of this body or this city, but we found a way after numerous discussions on how we can partner with our business community, and I just want to congratulate this body for doing that.
Thank you, Freddie. We have no special presentations or ceremonial matters. So we'll go to the consent calendar. So matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion, one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and/or staff may remove any item for separate consideration. Item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. Accounts payable, $179,493.14. Consideration of agreements and purchases less than $25,000. Discussion and consideration to issue invitation for bid IFB number CS-2021-0003 for the WWTP perimeter fence replacement project with funds to come from account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction. Consideration to post a notice of intent and change the city fee schedule. And discussion and consideration to accept a mural donation valued at $2,000 by the dog park committee for the dog park. Do we have anybody from staff, the public, or the council wishing to remove any items?
Mayor, I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'd like to remove item E just for further discussion on it.
Then I'd make the motion to approve the consent agenda minus item E.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of consent agenda minus item E. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. So So we'll go back to E, and that is discussion and consideration to accept a mural donation valued at $2,000 by the Dog Park Committee for the dog park. And I just want to thank Thea and the group and the committee for raising this amount of money, $2,000, where they're going to put up some panels. And this is for the city to accept response or install them and to put them up.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, yes, this is a donation agreement that we've done before with this organization. And they're going to install corrugated panels, solidly windproof, make sure they're safe. And then a local artist is going to come in and put a wonderful mural on there of a value, estimated 2,000 or more, just so we know that, it's going to be a beautification. And that donation of that artwork supersedes the value of just putting this structure up. So the material for the structure is supplied with us. The artwork is being donated to us, and all the city has to do is make sure, which we care a lot about, make sure it's mounted solidly, safely, windproof, and then we take possession of this when it's done, and we guarantee we put it on our insurance. We will do the upkeep on it, but if it gets damaged or destroyed somehow, we will not replace it. But it's pretty tough. It's I think it's not going anywhere fast. So we're very excited about the additional beautification of our dog park, and so approval of this will allow that to happen.
Great. And again, I just want to thank the committee for all their hard work. I know they're working hard on their policies and procedures, seeking input from the public also. I think it went on the Facebook today. So, they're moving forward. This is going to be exciting for the future. They have many projects that they're thinking about to do in our city that we're going to take advantage of. So you bet. So thank you, Thea, and the committee, if you're listening. And I'll call for the motion for acceptance.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept item E of the consent agenda item as discussed.
Second.
We have motion and second to accept item E. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you. New business, item 6A, consideration to fund the remainder of contract number GS-2018-0068, the Xylem Water Solutions USA Incorporated, for the purchase of an aeration equipment and startup costs at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount not to exceed $22,337, with a transfer of funds from account number 51-80-53000 wastewater contingency funds into account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction, and requesting to waive section 2-4-10 prior discussion rule. And we have Jerry on the line.
I'm here if you can hear me. Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is another one that started last fiscal year and moved into this fiscal year. The funds were returned to the contingency for the sewer department, and now that this is the retainage and the startup fees for our aeration system to be paid to Xylem Water Solutions. We're just asking to take the money back out of contingency and pay the final bill.
Jerry, those funds can only be spent from that account on these type of projects, right?
Well, we're taking it out of contingency, so it could be taken out for any reason in the sewer department. But when the contract went past the fiscal year, the funds were failed to be moved forward, and so they were put back into the contingency. So these are actually the funds from last year.
Questions for Jerry? Freddie?
Jerry, this is Councilman Rios. Does this phase complete the project, or is there are there other items that need to finish up before you can bury this project?
So Councilman Rios, we are still working on some CIP items at the wastewater plant. One of them you approved earlier is the fencing to secure the area. We invested, $1 million down there, and that was probably $3 million worth of work. So we want to make sure the perimeter is secured. So that was that was a CIP item. But as far as this particular project and rehabbing the aeration system and the sewer, this is the remainder of it.
Good. I know it was a long haul, and you and your staff did a lot of work and put a lot of work into it, and I had.
So it took Councilman Rios, it took us close to 2 years, but we also saved close to $2 million. So.
Right. Well, I'm not commenting on the length. I'm just saying that, you know, I appreciate all the work that you and your staff did. I know it's a long project, but kudos to you and your staff for seeing it through.
Thank you.
Good.
I would move to approve item 6A, consideration to fund the remainder of contract F-2018. Brown Water Solutions. $1,300 to transfer of funds. Wastewater capital and waive section 2-4-10. Discussion.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second for approval of item 6A. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Council.
Go to item 6B, discussion and consideration of the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway grant proposals for fiscal year 2022 and approval of resolution number 1827 for the submission thereof and waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule. We have Chief Walters and Lieutenant Chuck Haynes. And we'll have Shelley, if you can read resolution 1827 first.
Thank you. Resolution number 1827, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Globe, Gila County, Arizona, pertaining to the submission of projects for consideration in Arizona's 2022 Highway Safety Plan and appointing the city's chief of police as the city's agent to represent the city's interest in processing of related grants. If council please with the reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What we're looking for is the approval of the resolution with our intention to apply for 3 different grants through the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. The deadline is Friday to apply for those grants. And we would like to apply for a police and traffic services grant, an impaired driving grant, and a traffic and criminal software grant. That would enable us to purchase some additional radars for different vehicles that we're going to purchase, add the equipment for the track system into the vehicles, which allows them to do investigate the traffic collision investigations in the vehicle, write the e-citations in the vehicle. And then it also allows for overtime funds for doing the different traffic details with DUI and speed enforcement details. So we're looking to get that resolution.
Lieutenant, what's the amount of the grant and is there a match?
There's no match for the grant and it's undetermined at this point. I'm still writing all 3 of those grants up as we move forward through the week.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an ongoing partnership with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Director Alberto has been completely gracious in supporting us and trying to rebuild our traffic enforcement and our capabilities here in Globe. As most of you have probably seen, we've put 4 digital speed signs throughout the city that have really, I mean, you could sit there and watch people, because most people, they're speeding because they're not used to the terrain of Globe, and it just gets away from them. They're not paying attention. So this is just bringing higher level of safety. The benefit signs, we haven't even reached yet on the amount of vehicles passing by, the average speeds and things like that, things that we can utilize in projecting out what we're going to need as we move forward, enforcement action, things like that. So the things that Lieutenant is going to be applying for this year is just an ongoing process of us building up our capabilities, both with overtime to be bringing people in for traffic enforcement, and then the tools that the officers need to be able to achieve the goals that we've set forth for the community of Globe.
Question, Mike?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. Chief, putting those radar signs up on the post from the bypass up to Jack in the Box in that area there, the ones you've got on the opposite poles there, that is the best thing I've seen happen in this community in a long, long time. Because I live off of Ash and 3rd Street, and man, that's Indianapolis Speedway most of the time. Either way. And it's such an improvement. I've noticed traffic slowed down. The only problem I have is if we could get rid of the 18-wheelers on another bypass up the canyon or something, that would be a huge improvement, but I'm happy with those, and I congratulate you on putting those in place.
Well, thank you. And just to throw some kudos out to Public Works, they worked tirelessly to help us. There was a permitting process that they helped us with. APS was very gracious. But like everything else under the COVID umbrella, it was slow in coming, but we finally got there. And John and his crew have been outstanding. They had to build special brackets to offset the signs so they're not hanging into traffic and getting taken out by the 18-wheelers that you speak of. So it was a group effort, but we're already reaping the benefits of it now.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Ready?
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to just kind of echo the same thoughts as Councilman Pastor. You know, I saw those going up the day that they were being implemented, and I saw our city staff installing them. I thought they put them up pretty quick. From the times that I was passing by, and I think the location that you have decided to put it is absolutely the best location you could put them. You talk about statistics, and I got to admit I'm probably in that statistic, because you come around that bend and you're right, it does get away from you, and it's a clear reminder. Of course, you're coming from a 45 mile per hour and necking it down to 30, I think it is, in amount of short span and a bend, a lot of blind spots. So congratulations, and I hope the data that you get out of it really helps your department and your staff figure out ways how to just continue to monitor and keep our traffic safe. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we waive the prior discussion rule and approve resolution number 1827, which will allow the police department to move forward with the grant process for the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Second.
A motion and a second for approval of Resolution 1827. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Chief. Lieutenant. Item 6C, consideration to approve resolution number 1829, authorizing the Globe Fire and Police Departments to apply jointly with Tri-City Fire and the Town of Miami Police Department for a state Homeland Security grant and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule. And I guess you have this one also, Chief, right?
Yes, sir.
Do she have to read?
Oh, I'm
resolution?
sorry. Yes, Shelley, could you read resolution 1829?
Resolution number 1829, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Globe, Gila County, Arizona, pertaining to a grant application to the State Department of Homeland Security, seeking funds to replace aging radio equipment for several local emergency response agencies. Their support for the grant application. Council, please with that reading.
Yes.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This has been a long-term goal of mine. I actually sit Eastern Region Board for the Department of Homeland Security. One of the key factors for first responders in the region is the lack of communication. We've struggled with it quite a bit since I've been up here. There was a process in place to move the tower, which has helped, but it doesn't really help us with the interoperability and communication with joint agencies and even with fire. It's somewhat difficult. So What we did is we reached out to the other law enforcement agencies, but we also reached out to fire, both Tri-City and Globe Fire, and came together with a plan to try to go to an 800 megahertz system within the region. So there's two parts to this grant. One is we're partnered with Healy County on this. However, because we have to separate the fiduciary process with this if we do get awarded the grant, and we don't want to manage their equipment. And they've got dispatch and things like that. So they're filing the same grant we are. They're just doing it under their umbrella. But for us, we're actually partnered with Globe Fire, Tri-City, and the town of Miami, because we're trying to bring everybody into the same umbrella to be able to increase our interoperability for major scenes, because I have yet to work any significant scene within this community and not have the assistance of Healy County, Miami, DPS, and some at certain times even our tribal partners at Santa Carlos. So we're trying to get everybody as close to the same capabilities moving forward. We've included Miami in this to try to help them out in being able to do this. If we get awarded this grant, which is a $311,000, it is not a matching grant. However, it could come in stages if it is awarded. So the first stage for us, we've divided it up between fire and us. It's important that the county has to be awarded it before it helps us, because they have to have the equipment set in dispatch. But we've wanted fire to stay as a group, so both Tri-City and Globe would be in one group, and then it would be us and Miami in the other. We're not sure exactly how it's going to work out, or if we'll even achieve the grant, but the men and women of the fire department, the Healy County Sheriff's Department, and particularly Lieutenant Haynes has put a tremendous amount of work into preparing and submitting this grant. So we should find out in the next few months how it goes. Gary, the fire chief, has volunteered graciously to be the fiduciary of the grant for us. So that's all covered. Do I have any questions concerning the grant or the purpose?
Just a question on the 800 megahertz. Are we one of the very few communities that are behind the eight ball as far as going up to 800 megahertz? I think everybody in the state has more or less gone there.
Well, it's to go to a true system. It's millions and millions of dollars, and so we're probably the first one in the state that's trying to do what we're doing and partnering with a private company moving forward. But we are one of the few agencies, at least in this region, that isn't there yet. When I say this region, I'm talking about the greater Phoenix metropolitan area and just the outskirts. A lot of it has to do with the terrain that we're in. It's fairly easy to put towers and things down in the valley just because of the terrain. Up here, it's very difficult. So to be able to accomplish this privately, the funds that we would need would be unattainable. So we're kind of thinking outside the box. It actually started with Lieutenant Tim Scott with Healy County and a partnership that they have with a radio provider in northern Healy County. And through those discussions, we was determined that we were able to move forward with this as we go. The lieutenant did remind me, for council, there is a potential that we would have to come up with 25% of the funding on this, but not till next year. And so council knows we're paying 100% now for the stuff that we're getting, just trying to keep up. And so the second thing I would tell you, probably more so for the mayor than anybody else, the redundancy is absolutely key for us. So we would maintain the system that we have. So the handhelds that we have now, once we go to the 800 megahertz system, we would maintain those. And then with all the vehicle radios, it would be a dual band radio, so they could operate off the system that we currently have or off the 800 megahertz if something catastrophic happened and we lost radio communication. That way we could still be able to talk to dispatch and each other.
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution number 1829 authorizing the Globe Fire and Police Departments to apply jointly to Tri-City Fire and the Town of Miami Police Department for a state Homeland Security grant and request to waive section 2-4-10A. Prior discussion rule.
Second.
We have motion and second for approval of Resolution 1829. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed. Good luck, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and
Thank
Council.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Item 6D, council will discuss and possibly direct staff to bring forward a proposed contract with Wilden Engineering in the amount not to exceed $10,000 for building official consulting services and plan review services to the city to be funded from number 10-55-51234 contractual services. Paul.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you very much. I'm going to do the initial presentation here, and we also have Autumn Woolman on the Zoom if you have any questions after as we get going. So Wildan is a engineering firm that is known in the Arizona for providing specialty assistance in building departments. And so we've reached out to them about contracting for access to a highly experienced 30-year experienced building official team. It wouldn't be one specific person, but a team member. The reason we're going to this contract at this time, with the uptick in development that we're seeing in Globe, with the reconfiguration of our development services, and with Carl Hacker now doing the our building inspections, we need to have the experience to help interpret the international building codes as we make these decisions and get these projects going. The building codes are very technical. They circle back and reference each other. The goal of this building department, the Globe Building Department, is to deliver quality service. Well, council's goal is to be developer friendly, and we want to lower those barriers to development here. The department itself, we want to have quality service. We want to be responsive in a timely manner, and we want to be consistent. And so what this would provide is a phone call away would be a seasoned business building official that when we get into the code and we're trying to read that and make these interpretations as we do, as to what is required, what is not. We want to balance the need to have projects move forward with the need for building safety and make sure that we're not missing something. And so we are budgeting about 5 hours a week in conversation time. This is not a contract where anybody would come to the city. It's just having that expert on the phone. So when we have questions or we need the experience, we can do that. They'll be working a lot. Their point of contact will be Carl Hacker, and he will learn a lot from having these conversations as we go. This is the initial contract. We'll get the usage down, and if everything goes as planned, we'll come back in the budget cycle and add a year-long contract to do this. We'll know more about the usage that we require, but this will be one to three experts that will bill out at about $125 an hour. We're working on the exact numbers. This is a new business item, so we're going to come back when we have the hard numbers in place. But we wanted to get and we're going to be co-oping with a contract, either Tucson or Avondale. I haven't sure what Jeannie has decided. But we wanted to get initial approval from council and the request, if all your questions are answered, that we move forward with returning this in 2 weeks to finalize the financial information and the financial approval. So Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you have any questions for me, or if you'd like to hear from Autumn, she's available.
Questions or comments for Paul or Autumn?
The only comment I would make, Mr. Mayor, is with the development that we're looking at in the future, this makes pretty good sense.
Yeah, I'd have to, go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, thank you. I totally agree. This, sometimes we spend money on things that we could better spend it on. And it's, it would have bigger value for our community and our goals. And this price of $10,000 for support in helping us accomplish the goal that this council and previous council set out to do. This is really a small price to pay to keep our vision moving forward in economic development. So I totally agree with Councilman Pastor.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, if, I would just like to thank Autumn. And Autumn, if you just want to say hello, if you can unmute. And so you've been watching. So Autumn, we're looks like we're good to go. Any final words, Autumn?
Well, first I want to say good evening, Mayor and Council, and thank you for allowing me to, inviting me to your meeting. My staff, myself and my staff look forward to assisting your staff with the technical portions of the building code. I do have staff available that are highly skilled and trained, so we really do feel that we can meet your needs, and we look forward to doing that. So thank you.
And Autumn, how long were you a building official in development services yourself? How many years do you?
I am a certified building official. I also hold other ICC certifications, including fire certifications. And I've been in this business for over 35 years. I've worked for the city of Glendale and city of Goodyear for 30 years. And I've been with Wildan as their deputy director for the Arizona operations for 6 years now. And I also have two other highly skilled certified building officials on staff, David Smith and Ed Kulik, that will be assisting your city.
So, Mr. Mayor, we'll get concise and accurate information and help us through the process. So thank you.
Yeah.
Autumn, thank you so much for coming on board or joining us tonight.
I do have a comment.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I do have a comment, a question for Autumn. I
Sure.
agree also that this is very well spent. If we do that, plan reviews sometimes get complex, and you really need that expertise. I remember when the hospital did their plan, and those were pretty complex, not only in building but in fire. And that's a question I have. Do you extend into also reading plans for fire code and stuff like that?
Yes, so on our plan review side, we have a fully electronic system. We have a wonderful IDT system. I also have a fantastic experienced plan review team that includes structural engineers. I have a plumbing mechanical engineer who's also a fire protection engineer. I have an electrical specialist, and I have two other fire marshals on staff, including myself, that can also do fire plan reviews. So we can do every aspect of plan review, from building, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, ADA, property maintenance, and fire plan review.
Great, great. And it's exciting for us, the amount of people interested in coming to the community. I think building our development services, it's got to be professional, and we got to be consistent, and we got to be prompt with our answers to these investors and developers, or they're just going to walk away. So we
yes,
need to
and we will be available, Mr. Mayor, to meet your needs.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just a final word on the plan review. When we do a third party outside plan review, if we can do simple plan review internally, we will do that. But we'll use Wildan for those ground up or anything more complex that we feel needs to be elevated. And through our code, we pass that cost along to the developer. And so they have a really nice way of doing third party billing and things like that. So we still are not totally giving up with in-house plan review for the simple items. This would be for complex commercial that we would do the plan review for outside. Okay.
Good move.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, the motion is to move this forward to the next.
Do we have a motion for that?
Move it
Mayor,
forward.
I make a motion to move this item forward to the next available meeting.
We have a motion, a second, to move this item forward to the next available meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Next, we have action items, and we have 7A, discussion and possible approval to lease one new Ford F-250 4x4 command vehicle and two new Ford Escape SC's detective vehicles from Enterprise Fleet Management in the amount not to exceed $24,550 for the police department, to be funded from 10-57-52000 capital outlay equipment.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm going to start with this. We are bringing back the three vehicles that we paused when we did the business grant relief funding. With 3 months, by the time these are delivered, and Dale will talk about what we're buying, but we have enough money to make this purchase early, and we have the money remaining. We're not transferring any additional money. The money that was taken away, or that we transferred or redirected for the business grant funding still remains. So those have not been changed. But with the way the budget shook out and the timing, we had the ability to make this purchase now. And I'll let Chief Walters talk about what we're buying.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council again. The three vehicles, two of them are small SUVs. They're designed for administrative purposes, detectives, admin, something that can carry equipment, but they're not really designed as a full-blown patrol package. They'll have radios, lights, and a siren in them, but other than that, it's just going to be your standard equipment. And the same thing with the command vehicle. We're trying to sprinkle a few four-wheel drives within our fleet, just because of not only the climate up here, but the terrain. They've come in handy a number of times. And so that's where we're at right now. All the three of the vehicles will be outfitted the same, subdued lights, siren, and radios, and they'll be assigned appropriately.
Ready? Just so I'm educated on this, these vehicles, when you say command vehicle, these are going to be earmarked for your administrative department or employees?
I hear rumor that the truck is actually earmarked for me.
Okay.
And then the other two vehicles will either be assigned to detectives or to the administration. We're trying to get vehicles that are conducive for the work that they do and the things that they need. So that's what we're doing. Right now, I have one administrator that has no vehicle, along with him and I. And then I have old, wore-out Crown Vics that are assigned to our detectives. So we're just trying to upgrade those as we go.
Sure. Glad we're able to move on this.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, Dale, you gave me an update on we're not ordering these from the factory. How are we getting these?
Two of them are sitting over McSpadden right now. So my understanding, and hopefully I do not get this wrong, but my understanding is Enterprises work closely with McSpadden. I believe McSpadden had actually had these on hand before we ended up having to kind of hold up on it and stuff because of the other underlying issues with the COVID money and stuff. So my belief is two of them are there now, and they're either working with McSpadden or trying to get the third one up to McSpadden is my belief.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, and the 5 patrol vehicles were purchased through McSpadden, from the factory through McSpadden. So that is our local partnership that that helps us out. We have a local dealership, we have service. These are warranty vehicles, and with the enterprise lease structure, it's a good way to manage these newer vehicles.
You said the funds are in the line item account, and there's no transfer any.
No transfer needed, but we still and because we've talked about this before, this is final action, and so so there's no need to waive the rules or anything like that. With this approval, we will be able to begin the purchase.
I'd like to make a motion, but I'd like to make a comment before my motion. There's no other discussion. And Chief, please don't take this like I'm trying to steal your thunder, but you know, we put a pause on these units, and I'm happy we're able to come back here. But we also put a pause on a Type 3 apparatus for our fire department for almost the same reason. And I would like to bring it to the forefront to this council that I still feel like we need to still move forward with that purchase and find ways how we can get that. I just wanted to make that comment. And if there's no other discussion, I motion that we approve to lease one Ford F-250 4x4 command vehicle and two new Ford Escape SE's detective vehicles from Enterprise Fleet Management in the amount not to exceed $24,550 for the police department to be funded from account 10-57-52000 capital outlay equipment.
Second that motion.
Mayor and council, before you vote, I need to make one correction. It's an F-150.
Oh, it's a F-150.
If the
Okay.
council wants me to have an F-250, I'm good with it, but it's
My
it's
print,
an
my print
F-150.
said 250,
Yeah,
so
That was my mistake.
if I can amend that, it would be one new F-150 and not one new F-250. Sorry, Chief, thank you for catching that. I kind of looked at that and I thought, well,
That's a big
250,
I'm a truck person, so I was getting kind of excited. I was with you there for a
You're
minute.
going for it all at once, huh?
but it's still a F-150 4x.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so I amend my motion to reflect that.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion and a second for approval of item 7A. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief.
Mayor. Thank you, council.
Item 7B, consideration to approve Resolution 1828 adopting the council member code of ethics. Shelley, can you read resolution number 1828, please?
Resolution number 1828, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Globe, Gila County, Arizona, adopting a code of ethics policy for council members. Is council pleased with the reading?
Yes.
Yes.
No, we had this in a previous meeting last week for discussion. Any
Correct,
other
Mr.
discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we met a week ago, no, it'd be 6 days ago, did the initial discussion on this. And by the way, I do have Tina Vanucci, our outside counsel, online in case you have any questions. But we had a good discussion, and the additional changes were limited to section I, where we added additional information about the what a gift of gratuity in the $25 range. You saw that. And then the changes that Bill had proposed in J, and so that's indicated in red. And so I don't know if you want to go, I can read those if you would like, or we can just have a discussion. If you have any questions for Tina, she's here.
Is Tina coming on? Or?
No, well, and we can, Tina, would you,
I don't have any questions. I'm pretty.
Tina, any comments? You saw the changes?
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to make a presentation tonight. I think the only two changes were discussed last week. And if you guys have any further direction, we're happy to hear it. Otherwise, I think it's ready to be approved.
There's no discussion, Mayor. I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 1829 adopting the new code of ethics.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt resolution 1828. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
And Mr. Mayor, before Tina leaves here, I wanted to thank Tina for joining us for this short period of time as our outside counsel. I believe this will be her last duty for now. And she's available, but no, this completes what we've used, our process. Now she still will likely be available in case we have any Board of Adjustment cases, because she is our chosen person for representing Board of Adjustment, just like PSPRS and different organizations. We need to have an independent from Bill attorney. But I just wanted to thank Tina for her help through this process.
Thank you very much, Tina.
Yes, thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Next, we have late agenda items, and we've already covered the one. Was there any other ones?
No, that would be it.
Second call to the public. Any online or phones? Thank you, Shelley. Scheduling the meetings.
no changes, no additional meetings. We will be having a budget calendar coming up here very shortly, but nothing to announce at this time.
Future agenda items?
Mayor, I got two on that. One is I've heard that there's some progress and being done at Old Dominion, but it'd be nice to get an update on where we're at on that. And I know that BHP is trying to help us out and get some improvements, so it'd be nice to know what we're doing and where we're at and how soon we'll see something happen. I know they did a trail, but I'm not sure if it's open yet. And
Yeah, and there was some updates that they gave in a meeting with Thea, and I was part of that meeting. Yeah, it'll be good for presented to the council because it really gave a shed light on really how far away we are from there.
And then another thing that's come up.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, before we go forward, I just wanted to start a new process and make sure that everybody on council is supportive of adding this item to the agenda, and you can show with either verbally or with a flag. Or I just want to make sure that we're all good.
We just do a raise a hand and see.
Yeah, raise a hand is fine.
Yeah, I'm good with
I'm
it.
good with
We're
it.
good.
This is with the park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
An
All
update
right,
on the
good.
park.
So we have everyone quorum in support.
No, that'll be important, good.
And then I have one other item. Me and Paul talked about it today. There's an interest in applying for a grant to do a splash pad, but there's not like a location set. So I thought it'd be good to get some council input or suggestions or ideas so that we don't delay. And when we apply, we can apply with a suggested location. I thought that might be a good idea.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, what we would do is bring forward an update on our intention for the application that includes the splash pad, and we could. I think our timing is such that it'll be in the March 23rd meeting. So if council is in agreement, we can do that.
I agree with it also.
And so I'm looking for Councilman Pastor.
Oh,
Okay, I just
sure.
want to make sure.
I thought we had 2 weeks.
When does that application come available at Freeport?
I do not know. Councilman
this through
Shipley and I
Freeport
had a
grant?
conversation just right before the meeting, and so I asked him to go ahead and let's put that on the agenda, but I can't answer that right now.
I think it's important, and the two ones that Fernando brought up, yeah, is good. I think we need to get the update from BHP because I think that may be part of that funding for Flash and not have to put into Freeport. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, I think we need to look at it.
Yeah, it would be a good reason for an update simply because they talked about changing the trails and moving some fence and helping us with some of the golf disc or disc golf and everything. And I haven't seen anything happening up there that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
It also, I don't know if it's a future agenda item, also on our PSPRS board for police and fire, if we might look into just getting some pricing or some costs from Tina as a representative of that boards. I think she'd be an excellent, we have to hire outside counsel for our PSPR board.
And
She might be a good choice of it.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, what I had not heard before, but with using Fitzgibbons and Associate, is that we do get a government rate, and so I did not realize that, but so it's been very helpful, and so no, we can look into that and maybe utilize her a little bit more for our fire and police PRS meetings. Thank you.
We need to raise our hand.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, well,
Raise your hand, Freddie. You didn't raise
that one
your hand.
we'd have to bring back. So.
You gotta give us a signal there, Mayor.
Yeah. Any other future agenda items? A motion to go into executive session?
Motion made.
Second?
Motion a second to go into executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
And Mr. Mayor, members of council. know. I'm watching and, okay, let me make sure I can see it here. And, okay, so, Mr. Mayor, go ahead, and if you want to, we are live.
We'll go ahead and open our regular meeting again. And just call for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second for adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passed. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Danny, thank you.